What's up, guys? Peter Pinto from the Fit Labs Las Vegas. I'm down here in Tempe, Arizona at the Z Health headquarters, and I got my man Zachariah Salazar here.
Howdy.
Zachariah over here has been doing the Z Health thing for over 8 years, and he's a Z Health master practitioner. He's gone through the master training program, which means he's just one of the smartest guys that we got in Z Health. So last week, what we did is I went on Facebook and I put up on Facebook and Twitter, what are your fitness and dieting questions? And I said I would have a special guest, and here's my man Zachariah here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the questions that you put up on Facebook and kind of pick them all apart. So, ready? Let's go for the first one.
All right, first question.
All right. So first one here, looking in there. What are your fitness and dieting questions? Okay. Is it okay to have salad after my workout? Or should I be eating protein?
It's kind of a weird question because salad's going to have protein in it, and I really don't like when people call food protein. You should think of it as food. And after a workout, you're going to want to replace as many macronutrients as you can. So you're going to want to have carbohydrates, protein, and fats, which again doesn't sound like food. So you want to look at your menu and understand what you're eating so you know how much of those ingredients are in it. And then you adjust over time. Maybe you're doing a lot of work and need a lot of carbohydrates versus a moderate amount of protein. Maybe you need a little more fat because that makes you feel better. Ideally, you want to have complete food at every feeding. So some carbs, some fat, some protein. The amount will vary and you adjust it to your training.
So then explain where does it come about as to what, I should be packing in protein after I work out. Where does that end up coming from?
Mostly people trying to sell you protein. I mean, it really harkens back to Bob Hoffman and, when he was doing York Barbell and making a lot of equipment and started selling some, animal protein, some whey, stuff that's fed to animals to increase their size, to bodybuilders, and supplements became more profitable than selling, iron equipment and shipping it through the mail. Ideally, a person may need somewhere between, 100, 150 grams of protein a day, and then the more they work out and train, the more you want to adjust that. But again, there's no perfect amount, there's no perfect measurement. You just start at the starting point, and then we go by how you feel or if you have any symptoms.
Protein bar or ham sandwich is my next question in here by my man Nick. So, protein bar or ham sandwich?
Well, not a big fan of bread and grains, but when it comes to anything that ends with the word bar, I'm not a fan. They're just not food, and most regular candy bars are more nutritious than the actual protein bars because of all the extra crap they put in it to try and make a lot of their non-food, poor quality protein taste like food. Ideally, I'd just pick the center out of the sandwich, have some oranges with it, maybe add a little fat to it with some quality cheese. Add some milk to it, chocolate milk if you like. And if you're in a pinch for, other carbs, then, have a Mexican Coke, something with sugar in it, not high fructose corn syrup.
Okay, so sugar. Then go a little bit into what's the difference between having sugar and a carbohydrate like bread. What's it do to my body that I can't make sure, because they're both carbohydrates, so then what's the problem?
Well, carbohydrate is a very broad term, and there are many kinds of carbohydrates or sugars. So, for example, there are problems in bread, like everyone complains about gluten, which we'll get into a little bit later, but really a lot of the problem is even if you weren't gluten intolerant, or whatever catchy marketing phrase you want to use currently, the problems are like bread in this country. A lot of grain-type products are often fortified, and they're fortified with awful things like ferrous sulfate, which is a very reactive iron, and that's not really healthy for you. Grains also have problems with making other nutrients unavailable in your diet. As far as weight problems, one of the issues with grains in general is that you don't really have a method of satiety for you to judge with. So if you eat a lot of sweet foods, you have a response that gives you satiety based upon the sweetness, the amount that you're eating. But with starchy foods, with breads and grains especially, you really only have a stretch reflex response. So you can eat a ton of, like, if you're going to dinner and they bring out the bread, and if I start eating that, I can eat a whole elephant full of bread. I can eat a loaf of French bread. And really the only thing that stops you from eating breads is stomach stretch. Where with the way sugars break down in the process if you're properly chewing, the sweetness of actual sugars, fruit, even a soda, will stop you from eating excessive calories. You can try this out for yourself. If you're hungry for something sweet, instead of going for your grain and starch and artificial structure-laden dessert, just go to the sugar bowl. start whipping out teaspoons at 15 calories a piece, see how many teaspoons of sugar you can eat before you go, no, I don't really need anything sweet anymore. You will get nowhere near the calorie load of like a big dessert.
I'm a motherfucker gentleman. I'm a motherfucker gentleman.